guys, this is Annette with the Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is going to be your tarot reading and energetic reading for the new moon that is going to be happening in Taurus. And this new moon that's going to be happening in Taurus is on May 6th. And it has some very, very beautiful energy to help make your new beginnings a much more stable and long-term outcome. You know, sometimes when we have new beginnings, we plant seeds, and some of the seeds grow and some of the seeds don't. But in this energy, we are only interested in planting seeds that we know is going to generate old growth for us. You know, it's going to stand the test of time. And so I want to talk a little bit about this grand Earth trine that we're going to be having at the same time that we have this new moon. Now, we have 5 planets in retrograde. So I want to talk a little bit about that because although we have this gorgeous harmonious flow of energy, we still have a significant amount of energy that pulls us toward the past. And so I do want to talk about the fact that if you are going to create longevity in your life, you are going to have to attach to the higher mind, and you're going to have to attach to wisdom. Here's what we don't want to do anymore, and I believe that many of us are being released from that, but many of us were like a hamster on a wheel, constantly running in the same circle. We were running in the same karmic circle. I believe that many of us throughout the month of May are going to start to release this karmic cycle of never-ending limitation and obstacles and disappointment. In order to do that, we are going to have to significantly tap into the energy that really asks us some very, very tough questions. And I believe that's why 5 planets are in retrograde at this new beginning in Taurus. Now, Tauruses, this is your beautiful new moon. And this is very, very significant for you guys because you're going to get off of the karmic wheel and you're going to start to create longevity in your life and commitments to the word longevity. For all of the other people, I do believe that all of us are going to connect to that same energy source in probably a little bit different way. And I'll go over that individually in each and every sign. But at the base of the Earth trine kite, we have Neptune and Pisces, which is a water-based energy, and it is an accumulative energy. It is also the energy that assesses the commitment that we have until the end of our lives. So this is you can't get a longer commitment in energy than you are when you are influenced by Neptune and Pisces. Because, of course, it's the end of the zodiac. So, for many of us, we are visionaries in this particular energy if we are being uplifted by this grand Earth trine kite. And we are being very imaginative about the results that we want. And I think that we're starting to find it easier to attach to hope and to a sense that that we are going to be very realistic about the investments that we make. Now, guys, this has to do everything with tangible and intangible needs. This energy is all about creating stability in what you want. It's about duty. It's about responsibility. It's about taking action, but very deliberate action and thinking things through. So we have 5 planets in retrograde. And I believe that if we're going to get the most out of this new moon, then we got to slow the hell down. We've got to slow down, and we have got to embrace Earth energy at its fullest. And if you know Earth signs, they are a little bit more subdued in their thinking. They're quite a bit more conservative, and they're definitely a lot more precise in all of the movements that they make. I do want to say that earth energies are often those people that you can count on. They are the people that are consistent in your life. They are the people that endure amongst all odds. And they are the people that generate their goals the easiest. And so I believe that for some of you, this is a revelation process. It can be very, Saturn at this time is in retrograde. It's in Sagittarius. It's in conjunct with Mars in Sagittarius. Here's the thing, guys. They're in retrograde. So this is about getting control of how you limited your belief systems and how rigid your thinking was. If you continue to walk the same paths that you are walking on, I guarantee you're going to be the hamster on the wheel. If you release yourself from being the hamster on the wheel, then what you're going to attach to is Neptune and Pisces, and that's where your mind can create a better outcome. It can be very, very imaginative. It can manifest hope, and it can deeply influence your intuition. And if our intuition is dead on. I believe that back in time, we were very significantly attached to intuition because that's what kept us alive. But I believe that we've lost that as we have become much more attached to the material world. But I believe as we have been stripped away from those material mindsets, and as Uranus in Aries is squaring off with Saturn in Sagittarius, what I believe it is we are getting down back to the basics. We are achieving a different perspective. We are looking at different outcomes, and we are actually attaching more with those gut instincts, that intuitive response in us that tells us yes or no or maybe. The past is going to be a significant issue for us because what it's going to do is it's going to allow us to reconsider and reflect on lessons learned. So if some of us are wanting to walk on a path and it reminds us at all of the past, and if that past memory has, a negative, intuitive gut reaction, then we know not to walk that path. We are very blessed right now to have that energy source influencing us. At the same time, we're trying to create new beginnings and commit to long-term goals that generate stability. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to just shuffle and I'm going to see what Spirit's message is. It's very clear what astrology's message is for me, but I really always like to let Spirit open me up to a broader message than just astrology, because I am deeply guided by Spirit in my own personal life. So I'm just going to shuffle these a little bit. So, as you know, I kind of shuffle them, and then I just look for the card that represents the present, that represents what we're currently going through, what the energy is. Ooh, this little guy spoke to me significantly, so we're gonna see what it has to say. Mercury right there, in reverse. Very significant message because we are currently in so many retrograde cycles, and at this time, Mercury is in retrograde. Let me go ahead and just get this all straightened out for you. I'm going to split this into threes, and I'm going to see which deck talks to me significantly. Whoops, sorry about that. This one definitely spoke to me. Very warm, very inviting. Okay. coming back up again. Okay. So I'm going to sit with energy as I always do for just a few minutes. I'm going to let this just really resonate with me. Listen to what Spirit says. If you hear some birds and some snapping in the background, I found this amazing video that I posted on my Facebook of, you're by a lake and there's a campfire going, and so it's birds and a lake, and, it's really allowing me to really soak in all of this beautiful earth energy that I wish I was out in at this present moment because it's gorgeous sunshine here. So give me just a second and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, so let's look at the general reading for the energy that's going to be involved in this gorgeous new moon. Now, I'm going to go to the present card that we talked about, which is Mercury. Mercury is currently in retrograde at this time, and this card's in reverse. So, twos represent decisions, and it represents a path, two paths that you can take. You're at that point in your life where I think many of you are trying to either move forward or stay in past cycles and resist change. I deeply feel that for many of you, I know that I'm going to just explain the way that I do things a little bit. The new moon is a 30-day cycle, and the 30-day cycle to me is right about here. It's the middle of my deck. So this would be past, this would be present, and this would be the future of that 30-day cycle, and this would be the advice that I would give about that 30-day cycle. This to me represents the energy that's generated from the 30-day cycle, and this is the past-based energy. For those of you that have been watching my tarot readings, the Seven of Pentacles came up again, and this was in my full moon reading. It is still in the past position, and it is still in a position where we are reconsidering, we are looking back. So I believe, we have the Knight of Wands that's looking back. I believe that we have the Temperance card, and I've never actually noticed this about the Temperance card, but the Temperance card in the past is at a lower position, right? And we're pouring energy. Let me just show you what I'm saying. We're pouring energy into the past. And if you notice the angle of the energy, the energy is pointing downward. It is lowering our vibration and energy. So I believe that for us to keep our energy elevated, I believe that we have to reconsider and recall the lessons that we've learned about our past. And the energy that we poured into things that don't generate results. This new moon is about taking the time to fully embrace ideas. One of the things that I love about this energy is that we have the Knight of Wands, and this is a very forward-moving energy. It's an ambitious energy. It's headstrong. It's passion-based, and I don't think it fully thinks things through. I think it acts on passion, and I think that's a powerful card. But I love that it is looking back at the past when reconsidering what you're passionate about in this particular deck. So I believe that we want to be fired up about something, and we want to be passionate about something during this 30-day cycle and the energy that generates from the 30-day cycle. But what I deeply believe what we want to do, I deeply believe what we want to do is we want to actually validate our past. And in the past, when we poured so much headstrong, passionate energy into something, was it something that actually generated longevity? My guess is not. My guess is not, because I believe that the past, to me, looks in detriment. The problem is that the pull from the present is to reconsider the past. And that's okay, because we want to be slow when we take action. We want to be consistent, and we want to create structure in our life that has the ability to bring forth longevity. And so I believe this time is kind of an interesting time. Passion is playing a significant role in this deck, but also the Pentacles are as well. The Pentacles, of course, are earth-based energies. And so I believe that this card, because it's been speaking to me significantly within the past, over the past 30 days, and it is generating into the next 30-day new moon cycle, I believe that we have received a message to start over. Let's see if that can, this is to start over. And he's pointing toward the future. And so for him, there is a lot of work to do to attain what you tangibly want or intangibly want. And it is a little bit disconcerting. I can say when I look at him, I think he looks a little overwhelmed with having to put forth the effort to get and the work it's going to take to get this outcome. The wonderful energy in this, as we're talking about the 30-day cycle, and this is the end of the 30-day cycle, is that the Ace of Pentacles is really super beautiful and encouraging. It pretty much is the energy that says new beginning and earth energy. I mean, Pentacles is the earth, and it is in the future. And I love that it is right next to the Wheel of Fortune and energy. To me, this represents Jupiter. It always has every time I see it. And I love that Jupiter is upright. Do you know within this next 30-day cycle, as of May 9th, Jupiter is going to go direct. And then I believe that we can start this new beginning. We can start to satisfy stability and longevity in our lives. We can start to invest in tangible and intangible wants that give us that long-term feeling. Look, I think all of us are deeply at a point in our life where we're just trying to let go of things that didn't work out. I want you to take a look at these two cards. This is a pretty significant combination for me personally. Now, this is the present card, and this is the energy that blocks the ability to fully embrace the present. And for me, you know, when we're having a Four of Wands, it is blocking this decision. So to me, what this signifies, and for many of you as well, as I was processing these readings on an individual basis, we were deeply passionate about, and I think it's a significant other, a significant relationship, a significant bond. We invested, we created an outcome with this person, and we really thought that we had something special. And it is pointing toward the past, because when the energy is pointing this way, it's the past. When it's pointing this way, it's the future, and it's pointing this way. So what I believe is this energy is blocking us from having this card turn around and embrace the love and the new bonds and the new relationships that we have in our life that are starting to form and accumulate. We have to make a decision here, guys, to release the energy from the past, to release the energies that no longer serve us. I know it's hard to let go of something, especially if they are a significant relationship, a significant bond, and have faith that the universe will provide us with another soulmate, another bond, a bond that's closer to what we feel is a soulmate. I believe that for many of us, relationships are a very pivotal form that we're going to manifest into something else. I believe that I think we attached to insecure. Here's what I believe that we did. We attached to a very, very significant relationship for many of us that was a karmic relationship that caused a lot of pain, and I'm going to show you this. So right next to our present situation and the Two of Cups, which has to do with an emotional investment, making a decision about emotional investment, we had this Three of Pentacles, and one thing that really speaks to me about this is this guy has really been grandstanding, really been trying to show somebody, hey, I'm significant, I'm amazing, I have something to offer, look what I can do, and has poured a lot of work and a lot of personal investment in showing people that this person, this sense of self, is worth the attention, the affirmation, and the investment in being valued, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I believe that I think what you're doing is making a decision at this point to manifest the sense of self. Uranus in Aries squaring off with Saturn in Sagittarius, which is conjunct with Mars in Sagittarius, both in retrograde, to me has signified significantly throughout the month of May that, we need to stand on our own throne. We need to grasp our own passions. We need to embrace the fact that we are an individual at this point, no matter if we're in a significant bond, no matter if we are generating new relationships or investments in relationships, union, bonds that help us get us ahead. We still have to sit on our throne every day. We still have to embrace the fact that we are somebody that, this card represents Leo energy. Leo energy is the king of the jungle, sits on its own throne, doesn't really need a lot of validation because it deeply feels it on its own. It's very warm, passionate, loyal. You need to be loyal to sense of self. You need to be loyal to the sense that you can turn all of this energy around. Look, these two energies from our past. This is your blocked energy, and this was the energy that we had in our past. I believe that we wanted to create an ideal outcome, perhaps maybe different. I feel like it's not the same as how we grew up. I feel it's different than how we grew up. We grew up rough. For many of us, we grew up where we emotionally wanted to fill cups and make them bountiful in areas that I don't feel like we were completely bountiful in. And I believe that we wanted to create this idyllic situation to help correct some of the programming from the past. And what I deeply believe is that what ended up happening in our advice card is that we walked away with very little. Because what we did was we worked out of an energy source that was deficient to start with. We were connecting to energy where we were pouring energy into an empty bucket, trying to fill an empty bucket. So what we were trying to do is we were trying to find the sense of self through creating an idyllic setting. I believe that that is not how we're going to move forward, but I believe that now that we know that everything relies on us and everything starts with the sense of self, the sense of I am, then I believe what we're doing is becoming very aware, consciously aware, that we have a seed, but in order to generate this bountiful harvest, that we're the one that's got to put the work into it. We can't blame anybody else for where we're at. No. Where we're at is where we're at. We have the 9 of Pentacles here. And this is a beautiful card, but it is pointing toward the past. I believe that for many of us, we've got to stop pouring energy into past investments because they didn't generate a bountiful harvest, guys. They left you with nothing, something small. You were deficient afterwards. We need to really attach to this energy, which is creating stability, and even if that means you're alone, even if that means you're walking this path alone, and I believe, I don't care if you're in a significant bond, it is a healthy bond. I don't care if it's you guys are building things together. I believe that for many of us, the sense of self is the most important thing in this energy. Staying practical, staying grounded. You are starting to generate energy that's dependable, that will give you the building blocks to create long-term outcomes, guys. Anyhow, that is the general reading. Let me get back to you, and I'm going to give you just the readings for each and every sun, moon, and rising sign. Hi Aries, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the new moon that is going to be happening in Taurus. Now for you, this moon is all about the Pentacles. It's all about creating stability and longevity. But at this particular time, I think your ruler, which is conjunct with Saturn, is resisting a different perspective. It's resisting the fact that you need to change some significant mindsets. What I think you've done is habitually attached to energy that somehow does not bring you balance. And this is a cycle that you've been on. This is a cycle that you've been on for quite some time. And I think you need to make a decision. You need to make a decision to stop going around in circles in this energy. And I believe that many of you will. This 30-day cycle is about ending that karmic cycle. It's about ending that repetitive ritual that no longer serves, this progressive new moon. But I believe that, what's really hard for you in this energy is to embrace the fact that the past has a lesson to learn. This is you. This is a fire signs energy, and this Knight of Wands is you. Usually headstrong, confident, passionate at all costs. But there is some energy that is giving you a revelation about the past. And I think that you're recalling and reconsidering some of the lessons that you've learned. And I believe that some of you are even though some of you may have simple needs and wants, or maybe some of you have walked away with very little, both intangibly and tangibly. I believe that you know that there's a bountiful harvest to have, but what's hard about this energy is, okay, first of all, we're depleted. We have 5 planets in retrograde. 5 planets in retrograde are, especially when Mars is in retrograde, the energy for you is you're drained. And so what I love about this energy is that you're not a cardinal energy source in it. There's not headstrong need to make all this progressive mindsets. You're attaching, notice the simplicity of the energy. Notice the simplicity of, he's attaching to the simplest forms. And even though he's a little bit saddened by this simple energy, he knows that if he invests in this simple energy, there's a bountiful harvest to be had, but not looking forward to the work he's going to have to put in because your energy sources are a little depleted right now. Also, let's take a look at another simplistic energy. You're simplifying what you need and you want on a tangible level and intangible level. I believe that you're completing the karmic cycle. And I deeply believe what you're learning to do over the next 30-day cycle is to moderate the amount of energy that you pour into the past. Here's what you're trying to do in this energy in temperance. Temperance is pouring energy into 2 cups. And the lower vibration is the past and the higher vibration is the future, as you can see in this energy source. And I deeply believe that, and if you look at this energy, I think it's really significant. We have 1 foot in the past in the water, and this emotional investment and this emotional, desire to be sustained. But we also, then we have 1 foot on dry land, and it's warm and it's dry and it's healthy to be on dry land as well. I believe that you're very, very balanced. What you're trying to do is balance between the past and the future, and you're trying to find the way that you ground your energy. To me, this significantly talks to you about being simplistic in what you want. Because I believe once we simplify what we want, then we find the way to ground our energy source the most. Now, again, I believe that there was some significant energy to the past that we're releasing, and we're ending this karmic cycle, and we're releasing our hearts from this emotion, this investment. The Pentacles aren't all about, that possession or that tangible need. What Pentacles can be about is the feeling of being emotionally fulfilled, as well as building resources, building tangible things together. And I believe that for many of us, we're releasing that energy because, and I believe that we're becoming at peace with that. It's almost like we're forgiving the past and we're moving forward because, what we know where it's time to move on. It really deeply is in this energy. And I believe what we're going to pull out of this, if we do, is the outcome is so glorious. Again, this is a fire signs energy. The outcome is you're sitting on your throne, you're healthy, you're happy, and you're moving forward. This is the sign of the Leo. This is the Leo sign. So for some of you, the outcome could be, really positive, maybe a heart-based, passionate endeavor that really draws you out of this energy. It could be something creative that really recharges you and moves you away from the past, but it could also just actually be a Leo that does that for you, and starts to move you into a progressive energy. Hi Taurus, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for your new moon. Let's talk about something incredibly beautiful and very, very, I think, significant about your energy. One of the things I noticed is that, this being your new moon and being so heavily influenced by such a harmonious flow of energy, to me suggests the ending of a cycle and the beginning of prosperity, longevity, and stability. And I love this for you because what's happening during your new moon is that your energy, Venus in Taurus, is going to be in a grand Earth trine kite. And what's being influenced for you is that you are going to deeply try to identify what you want in this energy from your new beginning. Now, your new moon is literally going to reboot your sense of self. It's a harmonious flow of energy that lifts your hopeful mindsets into the stratosphere. I definitely believe. Here's one of the most beautiful things that I see about this energy source. You know, Jupiter at this point is still going to be in retrograde. Pluto's going to be in retrograde. Mercury's in retrograde. We have 5 planets in retrograde. So the past is going to give you some significant messages about where you need to invest in the future. Intuitively, I think many of you are being guided away from the past. I think intuitively that many of you are preferring to invest in something that you know has some sort of longevity. I think that many of you are assessing what you tangibly want, what you intangibly want, and you're trying to create stability in those areas. And I believe that it's very frustrating right now because I believe that intuitively you're being guided to invest in a harmonious flow of energy, but there are delays, and some of your passion is being postponed in these areas, and that is because I believe that you really need to fully embrace the past and the lessons from the past in order to understand and fully value what you're going to start to invest in the future. See, what we need to do is identify areas in our life that will generate just this really substantial, sustained feeling fully. I believe that many of you are going through an emotional awakening. I believe that during this emotional awakening, what's happening is that it's almost like you're being awakened for the first time, and you understand that there is a real possibility in your life to create some sort of significant outcome, and that what you're trying to create is, on a daily basis, what you're trying to create is some sort of stable outcome. So we have this grand Earth trine kite. And during this grand Earth trine kite, what we're really trying to do is slow down and be more precise with our actions. So your ruler that's involved in this beautiful grand Earth trine kite, this beautiful harmonious flow of energy, is going to be conjunct with the new moon. So this all has to do with what you deeply identify with. And what you deeply identify with, if you were to be frank, is stuff that makes all 5 of your senses activate. You're very deep. You're very sensual. You're very attached to, of course, material possessions. But what people don't understand about a Taurus is what you're also attached to in energy is being emotionally fulfilled. It's not all about that tangible need. It's about the emotional investments that you guys make as well. So for many of you, I think there's a risk that's involved in this energy. There's a risk. So here's the thing. Here's our 30-day cycle of the new moon. Here's kind of the outcome of the energy of the full moon. And then this is like the past cycles that we have endured. Now, I do want to bring this card up because this card has, was in our full moon, was in our new moon reading and our full moon reading. And it's showing up again. And because it's the Pentacles, we have been building toward this energy. We've been building toward releasing this energy right here in us, I believe. It was a blocked energy in the future 30-day cycle, but now I believe the advice is to remember this lesson, this karmic journey that we've been on. We're simplifying what we want, and that's pretty significant for a Taurus, because Taurus is, what you want is not always that simple. What you want is this bountiful harvest. But if you look at his wand, this wand is attaching to a simplistic form of energy. So I think what we're trying to do is dial ourselves back and attach to the simplistic start, the new beginning, planting the initial seed and seeing that it goes into a bountiful harvest. Now, the hard part about this energy is we don't want to work that hard. Now, please do not get me wrong. I don't think that Tauruses are lazy, even though in the zodiac, I would say the most complacent sign in the zodiac is probably a Taurian energy. But I believe that you're just like, I've got to work this hard to get this harvest. I know that what I'm investing in right now will generate this bountiful harvest, but freaking A, it's a lot of work, and I don't know if I have the endurance. And I want to tell you that during this 30-day cycle, the reason that you're feeling this way is because we have 5 planets in retrograde. And so to generate this card, this bountiful harvest, of course we're going to have that significant feeling, right? I like these 2 cards. These are my advice cards, and for you, they're pretty significant. They're both earth energies. Let's see if I can get them both in there, right? They're both earth energies. This one is, of course, looking forward at the bountiful harvest, but simplifying. Here we're at the new beginning, and of course, this can't signify anything more but the brand new beginning, the birth of an idea, the birth of a concept, the birth of, that idea that could generate this bountiful harvest right here, the Ace of Pentacles. So we're starting at the beginning. And that's pretty significant that we're investing in this beginning. Now, presently, our energy is, this does represent retrograde energy to me. Mercury is in retrograde. This card is in reverse, so this absolutely represents Mercury in retrograde. And I believe that emotionally we're making some very significant decisions about what to emotionally invest in. Our unions, our bonds, our partnerships, we're trying to really honestly analyze these situations. And there's some confusion in this energy as we are dealing with this grand earth trine kite. A kite is actually, it's top of the kite is Jupiter in Virgo, and each side of the kite is a quincunx down to a sextile. So I want you to understand that even though this is a beautiful, harmonious flow of energy, so what I want you to understand is that the trine that forms the kite can make us somewhat not want to deal with this emotional issue. But the base of the kite is Neptune and Pisces, and Neptune and Pisces is compassion. It's where creativity resonates in our minds. It's where we want to create an outcome. We want to manifest hope. And so in order to boost ourselves out of the trine's sluggish energy, complacent energy, we have to embrace this Neptunian energy. But we have planets in retrograde and Mercury's in retrograde. So our thoughts are, I think some of us could be a bit confused in this energy. How to go about completing the cycle. This is Jupiter. Over the next 30-day cycle, Jupiter is going to go direct. And then we're going to fully embrace the end of this cycle, the completion of this cycle. And we're going to be very fortunate in this energy, but we have the 30-day cycle to go through. The pull to the past in the 30-day cycle is the fact that we used to grandstand and work so hard. It was like we were always constantly trying to get noticed for the achievements that we made. We were selling ourselves. We were selling our concept. There was a need to have to let others know the value that we placed in oneself. So we were trying to get noticed. In this energy, I believe we kind of release that as we go through the 30-day cycle. And we start to individuate ourselves. And what we start to understand is that, you know what? There's something significant about us that I don't need to sell anymore. I don't need to sell the concept of self. I am self. You're on board or you're not on board. I'm cool with that. In this energy, I believe that some of us have, have tendencies to be somewhat idyllic. This is the past cards. This is the blocked energy that's really blocking the present, the retrograde cycle. So we have this, sorry, let's see if I can get this in there. We have this little conundrum that I think is very significant right here. We have this idyllic form of the past. For some of us, we either had a wonderful childhood and we're really trying to replicate it, and we haven't been entirely successful of that, because I believe that we've been passionate about it, but we haven't actually achieved it. And so we're in this retrograde cycle where we're in making the decision about how we want to deal with the fact that we have this. It's almost like in this energy, reality, Mercury the messenger meets idealism. And so I believe that we're wrestling with that energy. I also believe what we're also wrestling with is the fact, we really thought we had it going on. Like full lush investments, either, opportunities came to us easy, or we attracted what we wanted easily. But I don't believe that sustained longevity, guys. And so in here, if you look at this energy, I think what's significant about this card is that this is all the future-based cards. So yeah, let's get passionate. Let's fully embrace the passion of the future, but let's keep one foot remembering the emotional consequences, and let's keep one foot grounded. So what you do is you're going to constantly see how he's looking down at this foot right here on the ground, and he's like, woo, before we go in headstrong and charge the hill and, really, really honestly take on this thing that I'm passionate about, I've got to remember that there's an emotional consequence and that I need to ground my energy and become much more realistic in this energy. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hello, Gemini. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the new moon that is going to be happening in Taurus. Now, at the time of the new moon, your ruler is going to be in a grand Earth trine, which is going to be conjunct with the new moon in Taurus. So many of you are going to be embracing your potential and the realization that you face during this new moon in Taurus. It's almost like it's offering you a clean slate. And of course, immediately when I see the clean slate, I see that we have Jupiter, which is in Virgo, which is going to go direct on May 9th. I believe after that, some of you may start to feel that the energy starts to turn around for you. I believe before that, there's definitely some difficult energy that we have to deal with. At the time that this new moon happens, we have 5 planets in Mercury in retrograde, and one of them is going to be your ruler. So the pull to the past is going to be something that you are going to be contemplating. I believe that many of you need to make a decision during this cycle, and it is to release the pull that the past has on the present. But I believe that there's some resolutions, some realizations that come out of recalling the past, which I think is significant and important. So let's talk about the fact that, you know, at the time of the new moon, and this energy is going to shift on the full moon, but at the time of the new moon, Mercury is going to be in a grand Earth trine, not in the kite, but in the trine. And so when it's involved in the kite, it makes you a little bit stagnant. So at the time that the new moon happens, at the present, you're making a decision, but you're indecisive. And I don't think you're, you know, particularly invested in deciphering the decision that you need to make, but it's definitely an emotional investment. This actually is the sign of Gemini. Mercury is your ruler. And this is the card that I drew for the present. So it's a very significant message for you, especially in this energy. Now, I believe that you are going to, the ninth stings to me. Jupiter releases you. I believe this kind of guy, this little guy reminds me of Jupiter. Very magical, very opportunistic, fully embraces, you know, all of the energy without any modesty. So every time I see this card, I see Jupiter significant, and you're ready to roll with the next cycle in your life when I see this card. But we've got some things to recall. Let's talk about when your planet is in retrograde, what you're going through at this time. You know, postponement and delays are inevitable, especially when it has to do with being understood or in communications. If you're trying to convey thoughts, understand that there may be some confusion, especially if it's regarding any sort of emotional issue, regarding conveying those thoughts in energy. Also, I think that for some of you, you know, this kind of represents Gemini to me. Geminis work really, really hard to kind of be the center of attention. They really like to grandstand and demonstrate what they have to offer, the mental stimulation that they have to offer many of who they want to enchant, the audience they want to create. I believe that some of you are dialing that energy back, and you're emotionally investing in and maybe more of a one-on-one companionship. What's significant about this energy to me is that I believe that you're deeply transforming your mindset. What you're wanting to do is dial it back, and you're wanting to be appreciated, you know, and you're wanting to create a firm and strong foundations, and that requires you to be understood emotionally, which you probably won't be for a very long time in this energy. Understand, I think Mercury goes retrograde as of direct as of May 22nd. And so don't expect this energy, don't expect this cumulative cycle to really embrace Jupiter's blessings until after the 22nd. I would give it a couple days, let the energy kind of reverse some of the confusion that you've been enduring. What I love about this energy cycle, this is your energy cycle, is that by the time we go through this 30-day cycle, we actually create the seeds for the new beginning that is beautiful in this new moon. This new moon is all about releasing you from the past. It's about releasing you from past karmic cycles. Here's what I find about you. You idealized the past in some way. You tried to replicate something that you clung to in your past. You tried to replicate it, but it did not work out. And so this card is looking back at the past, and I don't think you were entirely successful in getting what you wanted. making these emotional cups flourish with emotional fulfillment. And I believe that since this energy blocks Mercury, I believe there's a little bit of emotional vulnerability and an emotional dissatisfaction that I think, and I think that's why you're kind of training in this energy versus the kite in this energy, is because what you're doing is you're like, I don't even know what I want to invest in. I'm simply confused at this point. You know, I remember the dark as easily as I remember the light and energy. I've got both twins here. I really am trying to get on board with my twins. I believe that for some of you, if you're completely single, this has nothing to do with love or companionships, unions, significant bonds. You could be merging your twins here. And you could be having a difficulty in making a decision that merges and unites the twins with inside yourself, the sense of self. Uranus in Aries is the sense of self. It's squaring off with Saturn. So I believe that for some of you, and it doesn't even matter, say some of you are in significant bonds, but you are not fully embracing the sense of self. I believe that for some of you, merging the twins is going to help solidify your investments and bring you tangible results. What you need to do is take a look at, so here's the energy that generates from, you know, this cycle, this 30-day cycle, this energy generates. And what it is that I think you were just completely unrealistic about what you thought you needed to be happy. And, you know, the pull to the past is letting you know that. So that it's a 9. So it's at the end of the cycle of that. You're not quite there. You haven't released this desire, this unrealistic expectation. I think that when we start to get to this point, the Temperance card, as we're going through this 30-day cycle, what we're really trying to do is we're trying to see how this pouring energy into the past expectation, past emotional investments, is lowering your vibration. It's making you sink into the emotional depths. It's recalling pain. It's recalling vulnerability. It's recalling where, if you take a look at this mountain is erupting in the background. The lava is going into the water and it's cooling it. It's an extreme in elements, an extreme of fire and water. What happens when there's fire and water? There's steam. What happens when there's fire and water and steam? It's confusion. So I believe for some of you that Temperance card is super significant. As we get to here, guys, we recall the past, but we have passion. We're respectful. He's looking at the past. Guys, he's looking at this Temperance card here. Let's see. I'm so sorry. He's looking at the Temperance card here. Look at how aware he is of the foot in the water, the extremes in the element. He's aware of the consequences of fire meets water, of grounding energy meets water energy. How unstable it could be to have 1 foot in water, 1 foot out of water. Very significant message for you. What we are trying to do is create stability, consistency, and reliability in your life. You're trying to be responsible and take care of the day-to-day duties and to balance your energy between what's expected of you on a continuous basis. It's a process. Allow yourself this process. Forgive yourself for the process. 5 planets in retrogrades is super heavy energy. It's something to deeply, deeply respect. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hello, Cancer. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the new moon that is going to be happening in Taurus, which is on May 6th. And the new moon that's going to be happening in Taurus is going to be involved in a grand earth trine kite. And so kite, the earth energy in this kite is going to be revamping an area that I think that you deeply value, which is stability and longevity. You know, a Cancer is all about creating that feeling of consistency. Consistency really allows you to be more consistent with the ups and downs that you can sometimes endure in the phases of the moon. I believe that if you are deeply happy and secure, then I believe that the waves of your ocean, the influence of the tides of the moon definitely stabilizes, you know, as stability, and allows you to have some peace of mind. And I believe that that's very important in this energy for you. Now, what's significant about this energy for you is that your ruler is going to be in a beautiful, harmonious, grand trine that is a kite. Trine energy can make us complacent, lazy. We just don't feel like we lack the motivation to do anything about creating stability in our life, especially if it's an earth trine. But we have a kite. We have Neptune in Pisces, which is actually boosting the energy of the kite. And it's allowing us, as we're a cardinal energy, to really embrace the fact that we've got to make some significant changes in our lives. And the significant changes that I think that we need to invest in mentally is the fact that we want to, first of all, deeply attach to our intuition. If the moon is involved in this harmonious flow of energy, then you can bet that what you are wanting to do is emotionally stabilize your outcomes. You're wanting to create emotional longevity, consistency. You don't want extremes in emotion in this energy. So for some of you, what I deeply believe is that, you know, you are trying to decipher how you emotionally feel about the areas in your life that are involved in stability. I believe that your new beginning lies in the fact that you want to create a hopeful and very long-term outcome. And you don't want a lot of extremes in this energy whatsoever. So I believe that some of you are ready to make some decisions. And I believe that reflecting upon the past is going to help you make the decision of how you want to create a stable outcome in the future. I believe that you're deeply embracing the energy of this trine. I can't even tell you how beautiful this energy is for a Cancer, because I believe it's a blessing. I do. I believe that it's about time that we start to take a look at this area in our lives, because here's what happens when a Cancer is involved in energy that is inconsistent. A person, a career, a tangible or intangible outcome. It puts you on a roller coaster, that I believe that for many of you, is very difficult for you to, you don't tread waves, like ups and downs very easily. So what the energy, what the universe, what God, whatever you invest in is trying to say to you is that you need to be a more stable source. And in order for me to, and the universe knows that in order for you to be a more stable source, you really have to look at the areas in your life that are inconsistent, that don't allow you the stability. So here's what you're trying to do. You want to create comfort. For many of you, this really has a lot to do with home and family. Of course it does. Of course it has to do with the fact that, you know, hope is generated from the bonds that you form. This could be in your social circles. This could be in the social network. This could be how you're perceived by groups of people, by organizations, by people that you are trying to get attention from. Their needs, you are dialing things back, and you are looking at the most simplest. How do I get what I want? You know, and I believe that you're seeking respect. And I believe that this is coming in the form of, you know, you want to be recognized for consistent thoughts. You don't want to be recognized for this unstable energy source, which you can repetitively be. What you want to do is turn that energy around, and you want to be recognized for how you see yourself, which is this, you know, stable-minded, you know, can be counted on. You know, you make decisions that are based on other people. You're a helpful soul. And so what you want to do is be recognized for that. Now, what's significant in this energy is the fact that, you know, you're trying to create an outcome in some of your most formidable unions and bonds that really embrace who you are down to your core. You know, the moon is going, what essentially happens when there's a new moon is that the new moon and the sun and the moon are in that exact degree together. They combine. And so there's that emotional desire combined with what you actually desire. It's where you unionize your soul, what you want, what you deeply desire, with what you are emotionally motivated to pursue. When we have this alignment with the sense of self on an emotional level and on a core-based level, what we then understand is, what do we need? And in this energy, because it's in Taurus, what we really deeply need is to be recognized, accepted, and hopeful about the investments that we're making moving forward. And what we really need to do, and for some of us that's realizations, for some of us that's changing perspectives, for some of us that's completing cycles, and for some of us that's making decisions. We need consistency in our lives in order to be a stable energy source. We're ready to make the decisions to do that. So let's talk about the tarot reading in this energy, because I've talked a lot about the whole, the astrological energetic side of it. So this is your 30-day cycle. This is the energy that comes out of, that energy, that the what flourishes from the 30-day cycle with the realizations. And this is how we were attached in the past, or maybe what lowered our vibration and energy. So if we're going to take a look at it, I believe that many of us grandstanded. I don't believe many of us were valued deeply. We had to kind of really stand out. We had to grandstand a little bit to be valued. This Three of Pentacles. And we had to convince people of our value. And, this Mercury in retrograde right here, this Mercury is really, Mercury and Jupiter are biggies in this energy. This to me suggests Jupiter. This to me definitely is a Mercury in retrograde. It's in reverse. This is when Jupiter goes direct after the 9th. Those two dates are very significant. When Mercury went into retrograde, and then when Jupiter goes direct after the 9th, I believe that something significant happens between these two dates for you in this 30-day cycle of this new moon. And so I believe what you are trying to do, there's an emotional component to this Mercury retrograde. There's a decision. There's an investment in releasing you from something. And then once Jupiter goes direct, I think that we go full circle in that mindset. I deeply believe that because Jupiter is in Virgo, Mercury's in Taurus, Pentacles is Taurus. I believe that you are making a lot of emotional investment in something maybe tangible, maybe something that was an earth-based energy. You are trying to create stability probably, or an emotional investment in something that I believe was earth-based. Some of you, that could be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn energy. So that would be career, rituals, health, mental well-being, and it could be tangible and intangible ones, but this could also have to do with those signs. So we're going to come full circle. We're going to learn through the 30-day cycle, and the beautiful energy that in the 30-day cycle that comes out of this, guys, is this energy. And that is the simplistic form of what we desire. The simplistic form, that seed, that this seed will create longevity, fulfillment, beauty, harmony, and energy. The outcome, of course, is very significant because this is the sense of self and this energy. You know, this is a Leo card, but it is also a fire sign card. Aries, Sagittarius, Leo is very prevalent in this energy. The sense of self, self-confidence, the ability to stand out, the ability to take the throne in your own life, the ability to embrace. You know, this isn't about building bonds, identifying with family, acceptance. This is about finding self. Uranus in Aries is going to be squaring off with Saturn in Sagittarius. We're changing the perceptions that we have of self, the belief systems, the rigid, opinionated belief systems that I think that many of us were off the mark in. I believe deeply change as we move forward in energy. So we've idealized, or maybe even some of us have had an idyllic past, and we're holding on. We're not letting. This kind of reminds me of energy when, when you've raised your kids, you've had that significant partner, you've done all you needed to do, but your kids moved away and they went to college and then they became adults. And then, your partnership afterwards seemed to almost kind of dissolve or become less passionate in this energy. That's where I believe that we're starting over. We're making a new decision. We're making a decision. What are we going to emotionally invest in? What do we emotionally identify with? This is very significant for you, dear Cancers, because what you emotionally invest in is your soul. That's you. That's your character. That's your core. And so I believe some of you have to make a decision in this energy. Mercury in retrograde is adding an element of confusion. 5 planets in a retrograde is adding an element of confusion. Anytime that we get confused, our mind goes into overdrive, and it really asks us it deciphers. It's like a little computer. This doesn't feel good. And it goes through it pulls all these levers, and it tries to make sense of energy. The 30-day outcome, right? The energy that's the outcome is, okay, in the past, maybe we felt wonderful. We invested. There was some significant memory that was that made us full. But that's in the past, honey. You can't ever replicate this card again. It's time to move forward. So what we need to do is set expectation. Recall the past, but let's start anew. So if we're pouring energy into all recalling the past all the time, living in the past, we're lowering our vibration. If you see this, this energy source is, here's the higher vibration, but we're pouring it into the low vibration in this energy. It's actually never spoke to me this way, but it is in this particular reading. Fire, the past is this explosive activity. It erupts and it goes into the water and it creates steam and it cools it and it completely changes the consistency of the lava and makes it hard as rocks. You've had a hard lesson. And now you're trying to ground your energy. This foot's in water, this foot's on land. You're trying to ground your energy. And so you need to allow this process to fully manifest. And after we're done with this process, honey, we've got ego in a more balanced, powerful way. The Knight of Wands is usually this ego-driven card, but to me, when facing Temperance, what it's trying to say is that I recall. Look at him look down at this foot in the water. I'm trying to see if you can see that. Yeah, there we go. He's looking down at that foot in the water and he recalls the pain of what it was like to go through this realization. He doesn't want to do it again. So what he's saying is, I'm going to go passionate and I'm going to be headstrong and I'm going to have the confidence, but I have perspective. And that's very significant in this reading today, guys, because what we're trying to do in a harmonious flow of energy, and this kite, is to be very realistic about what we connect to moving forward, because that's stability, that's longevity, and that's what this new moon is all about. Thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi dear Leos, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the new moon that is going to be happening on May 6th in Taurus. And for you, I have got to say that this is a very significant time period. I want to talk to you a little bit about the cards that I see that stand out before we talk about the astrological aspects that I believe significantly represent you. For one, Leos represent the word passion to me. Leos and Scorpios, but definitely you're a heart-based sign that is all about the passion that you invest in. Our outcome card is the Leo card, right? And then we also have the blocked energy source on the present in the wands, and the wands are all about the fire, the fixed and the fire-based signs. So, and we also have a major advice card significantly talking to you in this reading. So let's talk a little bit about what's happening with your ruler. Now, your ruler at this point is going to be involved in a grand earth trine kite. And so here's what's difficult for a sweet little passionate, abundant Leo. You are all about taking center stage, but I think what's going on in this particular reading is I don't think you're so much about taking center stage as you are trying to create a consistent source of passion in your life and longevity. And you're really taking a look, and I believe that for many of you, creativity sings sings. Beauty, creativity, a flourishing mindset really speaks in these cards to me. And I believe that's because, like I said, during this time, your ruler is going to be involved in a grand earth trine kite. And so, the earth energy can be a buzz. I was taking a walk the other day and I touched a tree. And the vibe that I got from the tree, can you imagine something standing the test of time and remaining beautiful, remaining abundant? That's what I believe that this energy source speaks to me about. And I believe that for many of you, that is how you stand out. That is the life path that you're choosing. That is the career path that you're choosing. That is the way that you identify your value, is how you stand out. The significant role you play in your life for you. You're the leading person, leading lady, leading man in your life, but it's also the energy that allows you to be the major player for other people. There's a need to be recognized for your achievements, your accomplishments, and the value that you bring to the table and this energy. And I believe that for many of you, I believe that it is valuing that mindset. It's really putting energy into how much you value yourself and what you have to give. And then what you think they receive or what you deliver. This card says it all. Here you are. You've got something to give. And these people are ready to receive information in this energy. The Three of Pentacles is all about recognition. Receiving what you're putting into something. Believe me, this is a creative process. This is a product that you have to give. This is something special about you that's significant, that deserves recognition. I believe that is the past, how you used to relate to this energy. The future of this mindset is Mercury's in retrograde. Let's recall the past. This is Mercury retrograde, reverse position, and this is the emotional investment that you have in something. So to me, because Mercury's in Taurus, you value something on an emotional level. Let's get frank. If you're a Leo, I'm going to tell you right now, everything you do is an emotional investment. I don't care if you're creating a piece of art. I don't care if you're becoming a particular character. I don't care if you are, being loyal to a family or being loyal to a company, and you are devoting yourself. There's an emotional investment. And I believe that for some of you, with Mercury in retrograde, this card in reverse, I believe that there are some of you that do not feel that you are getting emotionally what you hope to receive. 5 planets in retrograde are going to have you deeply reconsider the emotional investments in your life. And it's going to have you deeply reflect on some of the changes that I think that you need to make in order to receive the compensation. And this doesn't have to do with physical compensation, although I think many of you are driven by that. I think what this has to do with is that emotional confirmation that there is something significant about what you're pouring your heart into something. So this is the 30-day cycle of the Leo. And this 30-day cycle of the Leos we get to hear, and this is Jupiter. After May 9th, you come full circle. Jupiter releases you from this cycle. I think there's an awareness that comes out of this energy when we get into this beautiful card. in this 30-day cycle, Mercury is really going to do a number on you. And I believe that the awareness comes out of this cycle. I believe that we're going to become more balanced after May 9th. Then what I believe that happens is this is what happens, sweet things. So we have the Pentacles, Earth represented, the Earth trine, the grand Earth trine. I believe toward the end of the cycle, the retrograde cycle, I believe that's when we start to really understand and embrace what the Earth trine was all about. Embrace what we are deeply attaching to, significant value to, especially both tangibly and intangibly. Let's take a look at the past, because, you know, this guy is just coming up over and over again. He was in my new moon reading. He was also in my, he was blocking the new moon. He was then, you know, really trying to be released in the full moon. And he is now in the advised position where I believe there's a lesson learned in him in this Seven of Pentacles. You know, I believe that, you know, some of you are starting over. The passion, there's a new idea. And it's going to bring a bountiful harvest, but darn, you got to work hard, honey. You got to work hard to get this in. There's a bit of, when you're caught in this trine energy, and you're going to be caught in this trine energy all the month of May, you're going to be caught in multiple trines, actually. There are going to be some fire trines, especially. What I think is significantly difficult about this energy is you don't want to work that hard again. Damn, you're tired. You're tired. You're stressed. You're overwhelmed. In the past, you poured a lot of energy to create this idyllic outcome. And it wasn't entirely successful when passion drove it. But what is going to be completely different about moving forward is that you have learned your lesson, and this little guy right here signifies wisdom. And you will get a bountiful harvest, but you also know that with wisdom comes realization, and the realization you got to work real hard. And that's, that's something that's completely significant in this energy. Just remember that, in the outcome, this is the 30-day cycle of the outcome. The 30-day cycle of the outcome is that we have to recall and remember that when we poured energy into a lower vibration, we were not emotionally fulfilled and it was unstable. But as we move forward, we're going to start to stand on some solid ground. Going to elevate our perspective. And then our ego, our passion, this King of Wands represents, of course, Sagittarius energy, which is right now in Mars, and it's also in it's in Saturn, both in retrograde. You're recalling the instability of that mindset, and your ego is not so much tied in being headstrong and forward without the wisdom of the past, without remembering that when this mountain erupted in your life, when this significant energy source released, that it released fire and brimstone and realization, and when it met water, that it created steam and confusion. Your perspective is very realistic, and that will generate a realistic, stable outcome. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching an Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hello, dear Virgo. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the glorious, harmonious flow of energy that you are going to be feeling in the new moon that is going to be in Taurus. Now, what I dig about this Taurus energy for you is that Taurian energy, this new moon, is going to really embrace the concept of your identity. The concept of your identity is an earth-based energy, which is what you value. And so I think, of course, what comes up in this energy source is your perspectives about what you value, what you deeply desire, what you hope to attain on both a tangible and an intangible level. I think for many of you, we have 5 planets in retrograde, and sweetheart, your ruler, this is your ruler in the present. There's a significant message for Virgos in this energy because this card came up. This is Mercury. It is in reverse. Retrograde energy. There's an emotional component in this energy that I believe that you're having to make a decision on, some sort of emotional investment. Now, here's what I know about every Virgo that I have had the pleasure of getting to know. And the fact is that what you tangibly want is appreciation for who you are and what you give on a daily basis just to be in the world. You pour a lot of energy into the details. And for many people that are not detail oriented, they don't understand the emotional consequences of pouring that much energy into every single little detail. And so I believe that for you, the realization, Mercury in retrograde, the decision you need to make is how much of an emotional investment do you want to make moving forward in every single little detail that you're attending to. This is a very important component to remaining mentally stable and physically stable in energy. Jupiter is speaking to you, and Jupiter is in Virgo at this present time, and until May 9th, Jupiter is in retrograde right along with your ruler. And it is involved in this grand Earth trine that you are involved in at the time of the new moon. Jupiter, which is in Virgo, it's in the sense of self. So, hon, how much do you got to give in order to receive? What you really need to know is that energy. Now, this, of course, can mean many things, but to me, for you, because Mercury, your ruler, is in reverse, pulling you down, pulling you toward the past, lowering your elevation and energy. How much do you got to give to get validation and energy? What do you got to do? How much grandstanding? How much delivery? How much do you have to convince people, 3 of Pentacles, that there's something significant about the message that you consistently try to give to others that are significant? You're trying to offer something. Are they buying it? And then how much energy are you going to put into that? That's significant in this 30-day cycle for you. This is the 30-day cycle. This is the past-based energy, and this is the cumulative energy, the energy that follows you into the new moon and really embraces the 30-day cycle. What comes out of the 30-day cycle is this energy up here. And what comes out of this 30-day cycle is Jupiter. Jupiter, to me, speaks significantly to you. For one, it's in your energy. Jupiter's in Virgo in your first house. What that says to me is you need to start developing a sense of moderation. Here's the past pulling your vibration down. There's an emotional consequence to the past. There was extremes in the past. There was fire that meant, when situations would erupt, that would go down and meet water and create steam. And, what you're trying to do is in the future, next to Jupiter, when it goes direct and completes this cycle here, what you're trying to do is elevate and stand on solid ground and ground your energy in stability and peace and harmony. And it's going to flourish and create beauty in your life. So what I think is significant for you is that, and I believe that it's going to happen a lot. What I believe significantly is you're going to start to notice the energy turn around probably after May 9th. And then what I think you need to do is stop investing in the past mindset where you idealize an outcome that I don't think, because if you look at these two cards together, what you invested in, right? Oh, sorry. What you invested in, what you flourished, what you idealized was instability, was in an emotional energy that lowered your vibration and caused confusion. And so we need to release ourselves from the expectation that the past has any significance. Lessons learned is significant. We want wisdom. Jupiter is wisdom. It's the elevated mindset. You will come full circle. You will learn your lesson. There's no need to invest in energy that no longer serves you. This little guy has been in my new moon reading and in my full moon reading of last month, and it's showing up again. I believe that this can't help but be a Virgo. You are a hard worker. You are somebody that invests a significant amount of energy in creating an outcome. You're goal-oriented. You're always looking at this bountiful harvest, idealizing this situation. You always start here. And I think sometimes you, unfortunately, walk away just this. So what we want to do is let go of not getting enough, not allowing us to tangibly or intangibly get what we want. What we need to embrace is new concepts, new perspectives. We need to embrace new energy, new hope. And then I believe the seed starts to flourish and we get this beautiful Ace of Pentacles. And then we become very realistic in what we pursue passionately. It's a beautiful energy. It's a lot to take in. You are going to feel, I think, on a very intimate level, the release in energy. And I believe a significant partnership for some of you may help you generate a new perspective. Who you attract in your life is the point of where you're at. So for some of you, if you're attracting this free spirit, allowing you to release your energy and they really seem to see the potential in you, then I believe there's something significant about the potential of your life moving forward. Embrace that relationship because it will start to heal old wounds if you do that. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching, and it's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hello, dear Libra. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the new moon that is going to be happening in Taurus. And for you, expect this new moon to be a point of regeneration, revelation. I think more importantly, what I'm really feeling with you is it's a revelation. I think it could be for some of you, it could humble you on how you go through your life on a day-to-day basis. the message that you give off on a day-to-day basis may be part of the initial problem about not getting what you want, not feeling fully appreciated. And so I believe that for some of you, I believe you're giving off a mixed message, is what I'm feeling deeply from you. And I believe, here's what I believe. So this card is really speaking to me when I'm talking about this. So I'm gonna talk about this because this is your 30-day cycle. It was in your 30-day cycle. So when we initially start out the 30-day cycle of the new moon, the new moon is being influenced by 5 energies that are in retrograde, guys. And so we are recalling lessons learned. We are reconsidering the way that we come off. Here's you. I think what you do is mold yourself to come off the way that others perceive as valuable. And I believe that is short-lived. Because what ends up happening is they start to know you and they start to get to know the real you. And when they get to know the real you, they find that there is a realization in the fact that I don't think that you're exactly authentic about what you deeply desire at this point. I'm not saying that you are trying to manipulate the situation, although some of you, it's kind of like a second nature, something that you kind of do. What I deeply believe is what comes out of this energy is that you are a people pleaser. You want to please your audience. And so this is the way you act to please your audience, basically. When we have Mercury in retrograde, as we're going through the cycle, this is Mercury. It's in retrograde in reverse. I believe what's significant is that I don't believe that you're emotionally fulfilled completely at this point. I believe that for you, this definitely has to do with some of your most intimate emotional investments. That I don't believe that you're completely getting what you want from the situation. I believe something deeply has to change. The 5 planets in retrograde are going to manifest complete change in your life. For some of you, I believe what it's going to do is release you from I hate talking like this, but when I feel energy, I have to be honest. What I feel is that I believe that you're selling a bill of goods that I don't believe that you deeply are. What you do is you conform. Easily, you see both perspectives and you're like, well, I can see their perspective, so I'm going to conform to that perspective because you're logical about your perspectives and you can look at it from somebody else's perspective. So if you're looking at it from somebody else's perspective, you're like, why wouldn't I change to meet their what they want? But I believe that, you know what? You're not about that. You're about identifying what you need versus what you are giving. The 5 planets in retrograde is going to deeply speak to you about completing cycles, releasing yourself from karma. It's about becoming balanced in your perspectives and balance in your rituals and your routines. So if some of you kind of have a habit of sweet talking or manipulating or selling a bill of goods that meet others' expectations, I believe that for some of you, you're coming full circle in those mindsets. You're releasing yourself and you're valuing all of the aspects of self that you have to give. And so what you're deeply doing in this energy is identifying the sense of self. Uranus in Aries is going to be squaring off with Saturn in Sagittarius, which is going to be conjunct with Mars. So what this deeply says to me on every single fiber of my being when I'm feeling your reading is that you are finding self. You're valuing self. You're valuing the beautiful creature that you are and the energy that you deserve. You're changing the programming that I believe that unfortunately I believe you learned from a very young child. There was a very influential person in your life. This could have to do with somebody that maybe is a father figure, a strong, dominant, masculine figure, somebody in your life that really deeply influenced the way that your programming is and your mindsets are. And, you know, being involved in a grand earth trine kite is different from just a grand earth trine. When we're involved in a kite, that means that we're freeing ourselves from a karmic cycle. That would be this energy. That would be Jupiter here in Virgo once it goes direct after May 9th. I believe that for some of us, there's a release of expectation. There's a realization. There's a, wow, mentally, I don't think that I really understood the ramifications of completing those actions. I do now. And that I deserve this, and that's what I'm going to get right here. Ace of Pentacles. Now, advice cards here. Whew. So last month this little guy came up. It is my 7 of Pentacles, and he came up in the new moon and the full moon reading. He was blocking, I think, the new moon, and then he came up in the advice cards, I think, up here in the full moon, and now he's down here in the past. So what I believe the evolution of this card to be is, I believe the evolution of this card to be is that, damn, we need to start over, simplifying what we desire, and we're kind of sad. There's a lot of work to do to get what we want, to get what we deserve. And I believe that for some of us, there's a realization is that we've kind of been a part of this confusion, and that we need to set the record straight. So in this energy, as we go through the advice cards, because these 3 are my advice cards, and this is the realizations, the energy, the flourishing energy that comes out of the full moon, what I deeply believe is that we kind of, I think in the past, went with the flow, and we were, I think, a little bit invested in the tangible area. And so we kind of just pretended to play along to get what we wanted. And then I think in this energy, in the present, 5 planets in retrograde, we realize Saturn in Sagittarius in retrograde squaring off with Neptune, which is at the base of the kite, which is the kite energy is what you're involved in. I believe that, this is the future's energy. This is the past energy of this card. And I deeply believe that in the past, we were pouring energy into a lower vibration. We were allowing others to create instability in our lives and then create a lot of confusion once the fire met water and created steam. I believe that we were constantly in this mode, this mode of like, I don't know how to make this right. And so we had 1 foot on land, and we had 1 foot, we had 1 foot on land, and we had 1 foot on water. I believe that the past was a very unstable energy. The future is it flourishes, it produces beauty and harmony, and it grounds our energy and it elevates our perspective. So I believe as we move forward, these 2 cards together significantly represent to me for you is that I don't think ego, how do I say this? The tangible things are what we're going to deeply identify, what we're going to remember. Look at him look down at this foot in the water. And what he's looking down at when he's passionate about something is he's recalling the confusion, the steam, the energy that lowered the vibration, and being forward and going for it really is involved in a temperate mindset. And then, of course, what that does is then embrace the grand earth trine, which is common sense, duty, responsibility. It symbolizes a very shrewd mind with money and business. You're slow to take action, and you're continually restructuring your routine, and you're adding some stability to these areas in your life where I believe that you were not aligned with. And honey, here's your outcome. Your outcome is, and of course this means a Leo card or any fire-based card. If you were to take a look at this, and if you were talking about a fire-based energy, you would be talking about Sagittarius. This is control. Saturn is in Sagittarius conjunct with Mars. It's in control of the helm. It is deliberate, respectful. The consequences are not worth what you feel about yourself, the passion you invest into things. You are learning the consequence of delivering something that is unauthentic to self. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hi, dear Scorpios. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the full moon that is going to be happening in Taurus on the 6th. And for you, relationships are going to be an area that you focus a lot of value on, significance on, where you're going to be looking at stabilizing your perspectives on those particular relationships. More importantly, this doesn't have to be that romantic bond. It could be any significant union or bond that you are investing a significant amount of energy into. This could be, for many of you, this could have to do with the fact that perhaps it's a sibling, and you're trying to strengthen that relationship. Perhaps it's, a work relationship that has now become close enough to be considered a bond that you value. So when we're talking about relationships, we're in relationship with everything, by the way. We're in relationship with the earth. We're in relationship with our home, our pets. We're in relationship with bonds that we form at work. They don't even have to be significant. We see these people 8 hours a day, guys. So these relationships that we form are in every aspect. We're in a relationship with money. We're in a relationship with ourselves. So the word relationship is a very big word, and it really allows us to develop a sense of self. So during this beautiful, harmonious flow of energy we have such a beautiful new moon in Taurus because it's involved in a grand earth trine kite. And so we're in this realization of the fact that we need to connect to significant bonds, and that they really honestly identify what is significant about us. They're mirrors to our souls. For you, what I think that this is significantly really honestly providing you with a realization is that when you first start this energy, I believe that you're identifying the old sense of self, the Three of Pentacles. You are trying to convince people that what you have is significant. That would be the trine energy. You're trying to convince somebody significant. Could be romantic. It could be somebody that you mentally attach a lot of value with, that you share ideas with, that it's somebody that you have conversations that are significant enough that you value, that you really honestly want to show them that you are an equal. I would say in this energy, and I believe that for some of you, this has to do with social circles, groups, organizations. This could also have to do with what you hope to be in these social circles, what you aspire to be, what you value to be. Now, Mercury is in retrograde. This is the sign of Mercury. Mercury, of course, this is in reverse, which means Mercury is in retrograde. And I believe that significantly you want to be appreciated on a one-on-one basis. You want to share and exchange ideas, and you want to be fully appreciated. But when Mercury's in retrograde, guys, and we have 5 planets that are in retrograde, communication is difficult. And so there is a lot of miscommunications that can make you appear to be unauthentic. And there's a little bit of an emotional intensity, I believe, where you're coming off the wrong way. The cups are empty when they're pointing in reverse. So perhaps this person here is wanting to feel an emotional content to a message, and you're trying to communicate, but in reverse, Mercury is not allowing that message to be fully relayed. Respect the retrograde cycle, guys. And really embrace the fact that we're in a 30-day cycle. Now, I am in love with May. May has the possibility to really, I believe that opposition creates interesting conversation. And it's going to create interesting conversations with your most intimate relationships. It's going to be frustrating. You're going to feel like you're going to pull your hair out, and you're going to feel like, that somebody just doesn't get you. But this is going to start a conversation that I believe that is significantly going to help people understand you, because you're a hard energy source to understand. Now, I am blessed enough to be an empath, and so an empath allows me to hear the conversations that you do not speak. And so your eyes do a lot of talking. And so I believe that for some of you, there's going to be an inconsistency to the message. What I believe is that some of you are going to have these emotional conversations with your eyes, with your energy, that your mouth is not going to be able to transcribe. And so just be aware of the fact that, that's typical when we have 5 planets in retrograde, and we're trying to embrace our personal power. We're trying to, it's just, everything goes in reverse. We can't pull off what we want to pull off. So, what we really want to do is try to manifest our potential, try to manifest something that has potential longevity. The relationships that I'm talking about, the friendships, the unions, the partnerships, the social interactions, the circles that we create, the universe is trying to weed out what you should be investing in and what you shouldn't be investing in. So for some of you, if you're investing in the wrong relationships, guess what? There's going to be lots of miscommunications. And when Jupiter comes full circle, it's really going to start to weed out the relationships that don't have the potential to understand what you have to give fully. This card came up in my new moon reading and also in my full moon reading, and it came up in different positions, but this is in the advice and it's in the past. I believe that for many of you, you know the work that goes into when it comes to communication, when it comes to being understood. Pluto in Capricorn, your ruler, is going to trine the new moon that is going to be in Taurus. So it's difficult for you to open up. It's difficult for you to make people understand you, and it's difficult for you to, it's really troublesome. It's exhausting for you to, how can people understand the depth of a Scorpio? It's kind of almost impossible unless you're a Scorpio, or unless you're a water-based sign, you have a little bit, easier time understanding. But for some of you, I believe that some sort of significant earth energy, some sort of issue regarding earth, so that any sort of an earth energy is going to be, you know, anything that you're building, creating from the ground up, may be difficult to communicate about. I believe that for some of you, anything that is practical, a practical expectation, you're going to find it difficult to communicate about. I believe that for some of you, creating a sense of comfort and stability, you're going to try to effectively communicate about. You're going to find it difficult to communicate about. And so what I believe this 30-day cycle is about, I guess, really, you don't care. Like, you're going to communicate effectively and what you're passionate about. And if people don't understand it, and if it weeds out the significant relationships in your life, you're okay with that, because I think there's a sense of peace and security in the sense of self and this energy. Especially if you're deeply passionate about whatever it is that the realization is trying to really place upon you in this energy. I believe that you have a very realistic expectation moving forward after the energy really produces the tangible results that it's supposed to do, where it actually really starts to influence the way that you think. I believe that the one foot on the water, the one foot on the land, I believe it's going to start to ground you. The future is grounding energy. It's elevating your energy. It's not pouring energy into something that can create a lot of confusion and difficult conversations. That's not what you're about. You're about being understood. And look at his eyes. Look how worrisome these eyes are. And when he looks down at these feet, he recalls the confusion between the past mindset and the new mindset, the new perspective, the new way to communicate effectively. I believe that for some of you. Now, what's going to happen is a lot of personal power is going to be gained out of being able to communicate effectively the way that you feel, the way and who you are. There was always a complexity with a Scorpio that you never fully understood them, but you don't want to settle for that. You want to be understood, you want to be embraced, and you want to be appreciated for the raw, complicated self that you are. And I believe that many of these difficult mindsets go back to the past. I believe that if you manipulated people that you embraced, I believe that you gave them the idyllic sense of self, and then they accepted you. But what did that do for your relationships? Obviously dissolved significant relationships, because that's what blocks the Mercury in retrograde communication. Mercury represents communications. It's in Taurus. You are learning to value what you deeply have to say in this energy. And I think that's truly and deeply beautiful. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hello, dear Sagittarius. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading, a tarot reading for the new moon that is going to be happening in Taurus, which is on May 6th. And for you, your ruler, man, oh man, do you have a tale to tell this particular month. There is a lot of manifestation and potential that's going to happen after May 9th, when Jupiter goes direct. But before that, we have 5 planets that are in retrograde, including your ruler, and that is going to be on the new moon. So there is a lot of reflection. There is a lot of significance as to making a decision, about the career, life path, destiny that you want to go on, and the people that you want to take along this journey, I think is more significant in this energy. I believe that for many of you, you are drastically changing and altering some of your routines. And I believe that what you're wanting to hold on to is the familiarity and the empowerment that you had over your old routines. And I believe that with 5 planets in retrograde, I believe that you're having to do you have to reconsider something significant happened in your life that is restructuring mindsets and perspectives. You know, we have Saturn in Sagittarius, we have Mars in Sagittarius, they're conjunct, they're in retrograde. Sagittarius energy is being influenced by Saturn. Saturn is restructuring and changing and solidifying mindsets. So, in order for that to happen for you, something big has got to come into your life that is going to really allow you. I think there's a pleasurable component to whatever this event that's going on in your life is. And what I think it's doing is it's allowing you to have a perspective that is truly beautiful. It's making you want to change. But change is difficult because you're a very, very fixed energy source, and you do not like to change your mindsets if you feel you're right. Now, granted, you're one of those energies that you're a fire-based energy, but you're also mutable. But fire often overwhelms the mutable energy from any Sagittarius that I know. And so I believe that you deeply know you have to change, and that I think adaptability is something that's being that you're being guided to do. But I believe that what's deeply difficult about this energy is that you're holding on a little bit to the past. 5 planets in retrograde, how couldn't you? You know, like of course, and with your ruler in retrograde, what I deeply believe is that you're just trying to embrace the future in a positive way. But you know, we have this opposing energy of Saturn and Mars keeping, you know what Saturn and Mars is doing is every time that you get out of line, it slaps your hand. That's the way that I feel. And you don't dig that. You are resistant to being put in your place. And Saturn and Mars is asking you to gain controls over areas in your life where I believe that there's components that you are excessive in. It's trying to really realign you with positivity and a new perspective. So here's what I believe that you used to be in the past. You were a grandstander. You know, you had 3 of Pentacles. You had lots to give, and you were giving it out. You were giving it out to anybody that would listen and would give you the sense of approval of self. But now that we're in this present cycle, this is Mercury. Mercury's in retrograde. The card's in reverse. One-on-one, something significant is happening one-on-one. Somebody is influencing you, and there's an emotional component to it, and I don't think it's all that settling. Somebody's got you, somebody's getting to you, and there's a sense when you guys are exchanging, there's a sense of feeling like you're bonding, and you're very vulnerable in energy like that. Because usually there's nobody at your level. This person's at your level, and this person is receiving, and you are receiving from that person. And so I believe there's a little bit of you're valuing it, but You're scared to value it to that degree. To me, there's a sense of vulnerability. I believe the energy turns around significantly. Here's your ruler. This to me signifies Jupiter every single time I see it. It's in upright position. It's powerful. You're being released from this cycle. I believe that I believe that after the 9th, and let's give it a couple days, guys, until that we really fully start to embrace the energy and we start to reveal what this energy has to say. But look at the beautiful energy that comes out of it. This is that grand Earth trine kite that Jupiter is involved in. I believe for a while you don't embrace fully the kite. I believe that you don't start to embrace the kite until the end of the energy, until you have proven stability, consistency, until you have proven to you that there's enough common sense, there's enough mental support to invest what you need to invest in. Now, the past reveals a sense of vulnerability. In the past, you realized when you made these investments to get what you wanted, there's the potentials there, but there was a lot of hard work. The realization is you're very realistic about what you have to do to get what you want. And for some of you, what you're really asking yourself is, do I want to do it? Do I want to take on this next project? Do I want to invest? Do I want to go down this life path destiny? I believe for some of you, there's a revelation process in that. Through that revelation process, we have what we become stronger in the sense of self. We realize that what we're passionate about will never lose anything when it comes down to maintaining the sense of self. And I believe and that's significant for many of us that are going through 5 planets in retrograde, because 5 planets in retrograde often reveal what we don't want to see. And what we don't want to see is that we idealize many of our past investments, emotional investments, and we really honestly just gave them what they wanted to maybe validate us. And I believe it goes back to childhood for some of us. This is like we just said what we needed to say to get the approval, but I don't believe that in the past it worked out all that well, because it's obviously not in our future, and it's blocking Mercury. So it's blocking what we deeply value moving forward. So, we've really got to be careful, deeply careful about what we're involved in this new moon, and the investments that we're making, and the messages that we're receiving, that we're temperate, that we're respectful of the past, but we're also embracing the future. We're not fearful. We're not hesitant. We're going to move forward, but deliberately, and we're going to take our time, and the commitments that we make, we're not going to be opportunistic and Jupiteristic. Jupiteristic is like, let's do it, let's go for it, let's, just take it on, and let's just, there's no consequence. There's a consequence, and the Knight of Wands looking at temperance is very respectful of the consequences of actions. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next Astrological event. Hi, dear Capricorn, this is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the full moon that is going to be happening in Taurus, which is on May 6th. So this new moon in Taurus will quincunx your ruler, which is Saturn in Sagittarius, which is in retrograde, which is conjunct with Mars that is in retrograde as well. So what this says to me is that you are in this beautiful process of evolution where you are being challenged, a change of mindset that you are rigid in, that you refuse to let go of. And so you're blocking the energy of the new moon, of the new perspective, of getting what you value both tangibly and intangibly. Both tangibly and intangibly, if I said that right. And so You have to be challenged in order to release this energy block. And so this new moon is all about the longevity of your mindsets. What serves you, what doesn't serve you anymore. This is going to be revealed in this beautiful new moon. And you're going to start to experience a karmic release in energy, which I think is deeply important as we go through these cycles, especially in May. May has the possibility to really reveal where reality meets idealism. And I believe that for some of you, what's happening for you is that heart-based endeavors, emotional investments are making you feel a bit vulnerable. The consequence of making emotional investments is very alarming for you. So Saturn in Sagittarius, which is conjunct Mars in Sagittarius, is going to quincunx the new moon. So what the energy is asking you to do is to push yourself, is to take a risk, emotionally, physically, mentally, more importantly, probably for some of you, even a financial risk. Now, with 5 planets in retrograde, and with those planets in retrograde that, with Jupiter being one of them, what's being expanded in this energy is, here's what I feel deeply with you in May in general, but in the new moon as well. The new moon is the 30-day cycle, but it kind of sets the pace of the entire month as far as I'm concerned. What it really reveals to me is that you have to merge the upper mind with the lower mind. You have to merge growth with day-to-day life experience. You have to merge the past and the future. You have to merge lessons learned with the reality of moving on. So what happens when we're in these opposites in energy, these extremes in energy, this quincunx in energy, is that the risk that we're being asked to take, we feel deeply. We feel, and I feel deeply that what's happening to you is that you're being tested in this energy to embrace and envision something more. And as we envision something more, what happens is it festers a little bit of fear. A little bit of fear, because what happens is when we take a look at the past, we take a look at maybe disappointment, we've maybe made some emotional investments, maybe some of us have idealized outcomes that never actually came to fruition. And so what we really want to control, we really want to harness, we're not embracing, we're resisting a new perspective. Because it's safe. It's safe to resist. It's safe to fight progressive energy, because for us, we feel like we know it all. We feel like, hey, we've got it all down, that this is the perspective. Here's what I see. 30-day cycle and energy. In the past, we worked hard and we represented ourselves, and we pushed that representation of self onto people for acceptance. 3 of Pentacles. And then what I deeply believe that was difficult about that energy is that when we got into one-on-one, we had that same intensity. What we needed to do is it's like we oversold ourselves. We sold an idyllic perspective, because here's us. We're used to grandstanding. We're used to being what other people. We set a goal and we idealize it, and then we become that goal. But in this energy, we can't do that with our partners. Our partners see through that BS. Our partners see ourselves. They are a representation of ourselves. They are a mirror of self. They don't fall for the image that you wish to create, the idealistic sense of self. They don't fall for it. And so there was a realization that happened. There was a re-identification. There was a separation, I think, more importantly. When I'm in a career-minded mindset, then I need to represent myself this way. But when I'm making an emotional investment, when I'm taking a risk and making an emotional investment, one-on-one, this person can see me, and there's a vulnerability in that. And there's a realization that comes out of that energy source. 5 planets are in retrograde. This represents the present situation. Mercury is in retrograde reverse. Okay? And then we have Jupiter. As of May 9th, I think the energy starts to get significantly better. When Jupiter goes direct, give it a couple days, I believe that we complete this cycle. What's beautiful about a revelation is it really secures an area and it evolves a mindset. And then the beauty is that Saturn, your ruler, which is in Sagittarius, which is in retrograde, completes the cycle of that inability to embrace that perspective. There's a realization in that. And, you know, guys, I'm not saying these cycles are particularly easy, and that embracing these new perspectives, becoming vulnerable on a one-on-one basis, I believe that there's definitely a little bit of insecurity with the cups in reverse. There's an emptiness. There's, I feel when I see this card in reverse for you, I see maybe panic. This person gets you and they see you. There's no hiding who you are. They see all aspects of you. And the realization moving forward is maybe, honestly, that's not half as bad as you think it is. Because when they see you and you guys grow together and form together a perspective, you grow and you flourish. And you find yourself in this energy. It's a mirror of the way that you should be, or you need to embrace the reality. This is not an easy cycle. There's definitely a significant amount of energy in opposition during this new moon. And what I believe that it is that you need to change the way that you move forward on a day-to-day basis. The energy that you invest in, the way that you come off, the way that you sell, the way that you represent self. You need to be authentic. And I believe that for some of you, there's a lack of authenticity in the sense of self. Beautiful thing about as we go through this 30-day cycle is we find self. We embrace it. We grasp a hold of the revelation that this person, after May 9th, is exceptionally, like as we go forward, I believe that this person provides us with the confidence to embrace what we truly were put here for, what the gift that we had, the ability that we had to give our gift, and then the way that it's received, I think, is really good. Now, this energy came up on the new moon and the full moon's reading, and it's coming into May, which means that we haven't fully let go of this energy. And what this is this is the 7 of Pentacles, and so we're really, look, it's not easy what we're going to go through to embrace the sense of self. It's not easy what we're going to go to get what we want, to create long-term stability. Creating long-term stability is acceptance of the weaknesses and the strengths that we see about the sense of self. and the way that we passionately pursue things, and the way that what we mentally invest in and physically invest, tangibly and untangibly invest in, all of these things are taken into consideration. But here's what I believe. So here we have the cards that represent the future. These cards represent the energy that comes out of the process of the new moon. And so I think in the past, we just sold a bill of goods, man. And I'm not saying it didn't pay off. I think for many of you, there was a significant payoff to being I think you may have misrepresented the sense of self, or I think you may have conformed a little bit too much. The consequence of conforming was the Temperance card. And the consequence of conforming was, here's the past, here's the future. In the past, the future's energy was lowered by the past energy that pulled to conform. So what happened is we would conform, then we would build up, and then we would feel unauthentic, and then we would just explode, and then our emotional needs were not met, and so there was instability. And then when the lava met water, there was steam that was created, and there was a hardening of the sense of self. And so I believe that in this energy, what I believe happens is that as we connect to the future, we connect to it flourishing. We're grounded. We're realistic about what we want, and we're elevating our perspectives. And when we do that, we embrace the card of the future, which is ego. We still are validated. We're powerful. We're energetic. We're progressive. We're forward. We're passionate. But look at his eyes. In this energy, he is very mindful of the instability of having 1 foot on land and 1 foot on water. This very significant respect, realization. The past taught us, it was a wisdom building exercise. And the cycle was significant. There was a significant investment that we made in this cycle. But through this realization, I deeply believe that for some of us, there is what we envision for the future. I think that we're much more realistic about, and we have a better grip on what we desire moving forward. But what I think that this deeply does is allow us, once Mercury is going to go direct May 22nd, and when it does, if you look at this card in reverse as it's released from the retrograde cycle, there is a fullness emotionally. There is a one-on-one understanding. There is an appreciation of perspectives and ideas and thoughts that are shared between the two, and it's deeply valued. And there's a message that comes out of that. So just attach to the lessons that you're going to learn in this 30-day cycle, and envision the new beginning in some really progressive mindsets that really honestly are going to stand the test of time. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hello, dear Aquarius. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the new moon that is going to be happening in Taurus. This is going to be happening on May 6th, and I combine astrology with tarot, and this message is completely significant for you. So we have Uranus in Aries, which is going to trine Saturn in Sagittarius, but it's going to oppose Pluto in Capricorn. So what this signifies to me is that for some of you that are trying to stabilize your earth energies, and earth energies would include areas where you firmly plant your energy, where you embrace stability and longevity. For some of you, that could be, building from the ground up. For some of you, that's the foundation that you structure everything on. For some of you, that is the groundwork for who you are. For some of you, that is creating a dependable outcome that has progressive energy attached to it, that can provide you with that, that stable long-term outcome. So I believe that many of you, what you're doing is, I believe that you're idealizing some facet of what you attach hope to. I believe that there is a mindset that you do at detriment on a day-to-day basis, a ritual, a habit, a habitual mindset, whatever it is that doesn't allow you to get off the wheel. So I believe that many of us are stepping off of karmic cycles. We're ending karmic cycles. And those karmic cycles, to me, feel very much like that hamster that's on the perpetual wheel, just running and running and running, but never getting anywhere. So I believe that what we're trying to do is release us in this new moon in Taurus and to value a different mindset. But in order to do that, we have to challenge energy. We have to challenge Saturn. And when we come up against a challenge of Saturn, that's ego versus Uranus and Aries versus Saturn, which is about broadening our perspectives. So we're dealing with rigid belief systems, and then we're dealing with broadening our perspectives and gaining control through a yin and yang type mindset. Whenever we take a look at our lives, and when we have 5 planets that are in retrograde, we become very retrospective. For some of you, you may refuse to embrace the retrospective energy. For some of you, what you may be doing is not allowing that energy to fully embrace the past and the karmic lessons and the karmic cycles and the revelations that come out of those energies. What you could be doing is still sitting there on that hamster wheel for some of you. And so there's a sense of loss of personal power that this Taurus moon is wanting to release you from. It's wanting to release you from that dark tendency of repetitive cycles, and it's wanting you to embrace new concepts, new theories, and to value yourself enough to walk away from those mindsets. Now Saturn, which is conjunct Mars in Sagittarius, is going to be challenging Jupiter's energy, challenging Neptune, and challenging Chiron. You're holding on. You're refusing to let go of a rigid belief system, of a mindset, of a detrimental habitual routine. You're blocking your own energy, essentially. There's a revelation. Intuitively, you know what you need to do, but you're not embracing the realization that this Taurus new moon is trying to make you understand. So there's the realization, but there's the refusal to acknowledge the realization in this energy, I think, for some of you. Because what would happen if you embrace this realization, you would have to change something significantly that you've attached value to. I believe that this stems deeply back to me. Because here's what happens. Saturn in Sagittarius, which is conjunct the new moon Saturn in Sagittarius, which is in retrograde, is conjunct Mars in Sagittarius, which is in retrograde, which will quincunx this new moon. You are in flat opposition of this progressive mindset. And it's, I don't think this is your fault. I believe that there is some past programming that has taught you to settle for the energy source that you are now fully enveloped in. And it's unfortunate because it's not fair. But I honestly believe that this cycle is about releasing you possibly and hopefully from these repetitive routines. So in our future position, we have Mercury, which is in retrograde, which this represents a lot of the retrograde energy for me. And what I significantly feel about this energy is that there's an emotional investment that I feel like you are deficient in. I believe that there's a cycle that you create, that you place value on, that never emotionally fulfills you. And this is some sort of routine that you have in your life. You are mirroring probably something significantly from your past, a relationship, a bond, a union, a significant partnership, a significant relationship that taught you to be this way. And the message is not being received as to how to release yourself from this karmic cycle. I believe that as we get into after May 9th, as Jupiter goes direct and releases you from this karmic cycle, we end this cycle. I believe there's a revelation to be had, and there's a release. There's Chiron that starts to release you and place enough value on what you want to emotionally receive, what you feel like you deserve, what you feel like provides you with enough emotional security. It balances out your energy. I believe there's a revelation process that comes along after probably about May 9th. And it could be anywhere between May 9th and May 22nd that you start to really deeply realize that letting go of this energy is the way to progress and release yourself. Release yourself to receive what you tangibly want and what you intangibly desire. I believe that there's a lot of energy that's asking you to develop a sense of security within yourself. You're individuating yourself. The realization is that you're finding the sense of self in this energy. That you're standing on your throne and you're embracing this, and there's a sense of a loneliness about this energy, or that, to me, it's not loneliness in a sense of depreciation. It's a loneliness, a sense of, I am figuring out what I want, and I am embracing my passions, and I'm embracing myself, and I am becoming full, and I am flourishing in the sense of self. Uranus in Aries, when it is in a trine with Saturn in Sagittarius, conjunct with Mars in Sagittarius, all in retrograde, is a release from the past. And it is embracing the future. This is a fire-based energy. Sagittarius energy is a fire-based energy. Even though this classically represents Leo, to me, and maybe this has to do with something that has to do with the heart, or some sort of creative form of expression that you find yourself in, that you individuate, you flourish in. I believe that in the past, many of you, I think you're not a conforming energy, but you deliver what people want to receive. And you stand up here and you portray the product, the future. You're always delivering ideas. You're always trying to be understood. And there's a sense of miscommunication to me when I'm looking at these two energies together. It's like you're not being understood. Mercury is the messenger. Mercury is the way that we communicate, the thinking, the logic, the feeling, these one-on-one conversations. You're not being understood. And so I think that for some of you, this cycle ends, and I believe that you start to attract people that understand you. These cycles end, and you start to find what you value about yourself. This energy was in the new moon as well as the full moon's energy. And I deeply believe that for you, there's a sense of vulnerability about this energy, and you don't do vulnerability very well. Let's be realistic. You know, I deeply feel there's a sense of, why am I attaching to so much energy where you are standing up alone? You're standing up and you are defending a mindset in a position where it's individuating yourself, but in a lone type way. It's like you're that one voice that has a different opinion. And to convince others is so much work. And you don't know if, I believe that what you have to give will flourish and will be the future. But I believe that it's going to take a lot of work to convince. And you're stressed and you're sad about having to do this. And starting over the beginning, it's like, oh my God, how many times do I got to work this hard to get what I want? I believe that some of you are in this mindset. And there's a sense of frustration, and there's a sense of like, it's almost like you're done with narrow-minded perspectives when you understand your perspective so well, but it's like there's this communication issue where you can't get others to completely understand what you value or the value you place on something. And so there's this sense of like inconsistency, I deeply feel. Now, mind you, we're on a 30-day cycle, new moon to new moon. And this new moon is you're very sensitive about these issues that are coming up. They're very heart-based. Of course, when we have Mercury, and we have it in retrograde, but we have it in these one-on-one situations where we're not being emotionally fulfilled. I believe that logically we turn this around, but I believe it's a journey to become emotionally fulfilled. Here is the 30-day cycle as we move toward the future. As we start to receive the gifts from the 30-day cycle, one of the things that I completely noticed is that in the past, you know, I believe that for some of you, you're very successful tangibly. You're very successful at the basics, but you're not emotionally successful. For some of you, I think you've achieved some of the things in the past that you wanted to achieve, the goals that you have set. But I believe that there's an emotional component for some of you that I don't believe that you've fully received yet. And so Mercury is about receiving, but it's in retrograde and it's emotionally unfulfilled as well. So I believe the past has a sense of an emotional unfulfillment about it. And so I believe what we're trying to do is okay, yes, we've achieved these goals, but what we deeply want, what we deeply identify with is emotional fulfillment, balance, emotionally steady, consistent emotions, something we can count on, promises that are made that are actually kept. I believe that in this energy is for some of us that is the realization. This card has a lot to say to me in this reading. It's very, very significant. One of the things that I deeply believe is that the past 5 planets in retrograde at the time of the new moon, I believe that we were pouring energy into a deficient emotional investment. That it was unstable and there was an emotional consequence. 1 foot in the water, 1 foot on the ground. Ground is stable. Water is an unstable energy source. Water energy has it has the ability to be turbulent and then calm at times. So I believe that maybe the good times were good and the bad times were extremely, maybe there was some emotional consistency at sometimes, and then maybe sometimes it was an emotional wave of inconsistency. And I believe that what you're really deeply, what you're deeply valuing in this energy is both feet on the ground. But there's 1 foot in the past and 1 foot in the future in this energy. You haven't released something, I believe. I believe that you're lowering your vibration by doing this. And there are emotional instabilities, emotional episodes where the passion pours into the water and creates steam and confusion. And I believe that you want to release you from this energy, but there's almost a sense of addiction to it. There's almost a sense of you are refusing to let go. Maybe ego, Uranus and Aries in your mind, releasing the sense of ego, the attachment that you see with ego with this. Maybe that has something to do with it. Saturn trining Uranus. I believe that ego is definitely holding on to something that no longer serves the future or future perspectives, future growth, future elevated mindsets. I believe that you're holding on to something that no longer serves. And I believe that for growth to happen, and for you to flourish and feel the beauty and the warmth and the love and for you to see the fruits of your labor, I believe that there's something in the past that you are holding on to that you need to let go of, because you attached a lot of hope to it, and maybe there was some significance to the feeling that you got from it. Or maybe you attach to the hope solely. And if you look at these two cards together, it's pretty significant what these cards, the message that they have to say. It says that in the past, there was this hopeful mindset, this stability. So many of you may have been building a life with somebody, or there may have been somebody significant in your life that you were hoping that would provide, or maybe there was a job. Maybe there was a career path that you thought would be very, very prosperous. Maybe it was. But some is going on currently that is you have to let go of. This past, I think, is a process. It's just exactly what it represents. It represents the past mindset. And as we elevate our mindset, we really embrace this card. And what this card to me really, really significantly talks about with you particularly is you're going to be passionate, but you're going to be realistic. Saturn and Sagittarius conjunct with Mars and Sagittarius, both in retrograde, squaring off with Neptune. I believe very realistic expectations about what you want, hope, and invest in emotionally is going to become the bountiful harvest that comes out of this glorious energy. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event. Hello, dear Pisces. This is Annette with Annette's Astrology Corner, and this is your energetic reading for the new moon that is going to be happening in Taurus. Now, for you, this new moon is a very beautiful event for you. Neptune in Pisces, your ruler, is going to be involved in a beautiful, harmonious kite, and your energy is going to really lift off this energy and really send it into the stratosphere, really honestly. So you're at the base of this kite, this harmonious flow of energy, and you're pushing through. What you're really doing is dealing with the opposition of the sense of self with the way that you are perceived by significant people, significant bonds, unions, and partnerships in your life. So what you're trying to do is to get people to identify what you see valuable about yourself in this energy. Now, one of the things that's completely beautiful about this energy is that Neptune in Pisces is going to sextile this new moon in Taurus and sextile Venus, and it's going to sextile Pluto in this beautiful harmonious flow of energy. So I believe that for some of you, the significance of the value that you place on some of your deepest partnerships is going to really significantly turn around the way that you perceive the sense of self. Now, Saturn in Sagittarius, which is going to be conjunct with Mars in Sagittarius, both in retrograde, are going to be in opposition of Neptune and Pisces in this trine. So what I believe is that I believe what you're trying to do is to realistically merge and to realign yourself with some very realistic expectations of the career, life path, destiny that you are choosing. And I believe that because you're such a dreamy energy, I believe that you can be somewhat idealistic about these areas in your life, but you don't attach. I mean, I believe it's incredibly significant for you to envision and to be a visionary in this energy. But what I believe where you need to work on is creating a better outcome. I believe that you need to stabilize this energy. Now, this is going to be significantly a challenge for you because we have some energies that are evolving during this cycle that is going to be asking you some significant questions. So let's start out with the beginning of May, the new moon's energy, the tone that it sets for this entire month. And this would be this cycle. So right now, we're dealing with a lot of retrograde energy. We're dealing with the fact that we have 5 planets actually in retrograde at this time. When we have 5 planets in retrograde, what we're really doing is evaluating the emotional component, the emotional investments that we share with others. Because in this trine, we have the sense of self opposing partnerships. What I think is we're trying to align the mirror that here's how we see ourselves, but here's the mirror. See how the reflection does not mimic what we see about ourselves. So there's a sense of confusion and inconsistency. This card is Mercury, which is in retrograde, but this is also the retrograde cycle, I think, for the 5 planets. And so when this energy starts out, I believe that for many of us, here's how the energy started out. We were selling what we wanted others to see about ourselves. We were trying to get others to perceive value. And we were perceptive enough to be able to sell them what they wanted to hear. In this energy, though, I think we're deeply trying to be understood emotionally. We're trying to seek emotional fulfillment, and you can't do that if you're living in an unauthentic self. And so I think for some of you, you are really honestly really trying to get people to see what you see in yourself. And I believe that there's a miscommunication, which is very, very typical of Mercury energy in retrograde. More importantly, 5 planets in retrograde, it significantly suggests that we're not being understood. This sense of self is not being understood. Now, as we go through this as we go through this new moon cycle, we start to feel the energy turn around probably after May 9th. And that is when the cycle completes, and Jupiter, which is now in reverse, moves into it goes direct. So this card is very significant to me. It always signifies Jupiter to me. And what it suggests is that there's an end to a karmic cycle of being misunderstood. So I believe that some of you are going to find a way to identify the self that others I think can absorb and then begin to reflect. And I believe that you're going to start to attract others that are more like you, that do not provide you with these karmic lessons over and over again. You're not the hamster on the wheel anymore. You're getting off. And you're releasing yourself from this cycle of constantly running around on a wheel where you never release yourself from. Now, and then that leads into the energy that I believe significantly represents this entire new moon experience. And that is the sense of self, standing alone, offering an authentic sense of self, grounding your energies, being firm with mindsets, really embracing the things that make you you. You want to sell people a product that you are, that represents the sense of self. You're going to find that voice. You're going to find your voice in the month of May. And you're going to stand victorious, the outcome card. You're going to be, for me, what this represents is you're going to be authentic, and people are going to connect with what you're passionate about, and people are going to start to feel there's a sense, the creativity that comes out of this energy. Once you find your sense of self, and once you completely respect this process, I believe that growth happens and you flourish in the energy, and that you see something tangibly produced from this growth period. Now, what I think is extremely important is that we take a look. Now, see, this represents the 30-day cycle. This represents the past. And, this was in the new moon's reading, and it was also in the full moon's reading. And now it's pulling into May. So I deeply believe, because we have earth energy all throughout April and we have it into May, I believe that we're really trying to identify our passion and identify what we deeply desire, and we need to connect to this energy source, because I believe that that's the energy source that's going to create this abundant energy. One of the things that concerns me about this is that he looks saddened by the challenge of this process. So it was blocking progressive energy in the new moon's reading, last new moon, but now we have it in the past and it's in an advice card. So we're remembering, we're recalling the fact that we need to stay simple and ground ourselves and learn the lessons, and to be mindful and to work hard and diligently to achieve, but to never forget simplistic energy and the fact that we can receive from a simplistic energy source. I believe that that's very, very important. I believe in this energy, which is also the past. I believe that we had such an idyllic what we envisioned was very idyllic. We told people what they wanted to hear. There was an acceptance. There was a love. We did this as a child. And so now we carry that into the future. But guess what, guys? We did not receive what we expected. So I believe that there's probably some sort of confusion about the programming from a child to the outcome, what you invested in the outcome. I believe that there's a sense of realization that, the giving people the idyllic form of self doesn't get you the result that you want either. So I believe there's a process that goes into this. Now, the energies that are very significant to me, the energy sources that are coming out of this is Temperance. The Temperance card is beautiful in this energy. To me, Pisces energy is very significant in the Temperance card in this reading. And the reason for that is because in the past, we poured significant emotional investments into lowering our vibration, into creating confusion, and into creating instability. There was always this state of we identified with our passion, the fire energy, but once it hit the water, our emotional investment, we created steam and we were confused about what to emotionally invest in. And so I believe that moving forward, the forward energy of this is that we're much more grounded with our expectations and what we emotionally invest in. I believe what we deeply identify with is that, in order for us to emotionally invest, we need to see some progress. We're not going to just emotionally invest in something in an idyllic setting. We're going to emotionally invest if we see tangible results. And then we're going to take it the next step further, and then the next step further. What I love about this is that we have Temperance next to the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands to me is a very ego-based card, but look at his face. I don't think I've ever noticed it quite to this degree. He's looking down at 1 foot in the water and 1 foot on land. And he's hesitant. He's not rushing with all of his ego into this when he's next to the Temperance card. He's mindful of the past and he's respectful of the future in this energy. And and there's something that he's trying to receive, and he's mindful of the actions he takes, and he takes slow and deliberate steps because he wants long-term fulfillment and for his passions to be long term. And I believe that's very significant in this energy. This energy of this new moon can go one of two ways. It can be very, very self-destructive. It could be where you have not figured out how to become moderate and to place value on the simplistic form of energy, where you are still excessive in some way. I believe that for some of you, the realization, even if you are in this energy, even if you are in some sort of mutable energy, mutable T-square energy, I believe that for some of you, I believe that you deeply, intuitively know that you need to be in this energy, the simplistic form of energy. And I believe that attaching to simplicity is beautiful, because you know what you're going to do in simplistic energy? You're going to sit there, your senses are going to be consistent, and you're going to really enjoy the small things in life, the things that make life worth living, and you're going to start to develop some of those very passionate things that you desire, and there will be some consistency to them. If you take the outcome and you take the top of the advice card as far as in the outcome, we've got two cards that talk about fire and passion and endurance and realization. These two are mindful of each other. This is the outcome. This is the future. These two are very, very mindful. They are in communication with each other. What they say to me is that hindsight is 20/20, and I'm in hindsight. I am not going to make moves that are not calculated. That is Earth trine energy. You are at the base of a beautiful grand earth trine, and you are pushing forward with this energy. For you to be able to do that effectively, you have to attach to simplistic energy, and you have to attach to energy that allows you to have this progressive mindset. Anyhow, guys, thank you so much for watching Annette's Astrology Corner, and I look forward to talking to you guys again on the next astrological event.